everybody, and welcome to Trance Talks, conversations with practitioners across many alternative modalities and disciplines. I'm Susan Marco, clinical hypnotist, and I have so many friends and people who have had big impact on my life. So I want to share them all with you. And what an honor it is today to have, oh my God, this beautiful woman sitting next to me. Well, really, she's sitting in Australia while I'm in New Jersey. So, we look like we're next to each other. But I want to introduce Emma Romano. Emma is a creator, a trainer, a mentor, a practitioner, an alchemist to your transformation. And what I want to call her is the biggest action taker that I know.
Oh, I like it.
So,
Thanks.
yeah. So, Emma helps natural therapists, healers, coaches, and hypnotherapists to build a solid foundation for their soul purpose driven businesses to succeed and flow in abundance. And if I can just tell you, that is my ultimate experience with Emma. So, I am so happy to have you here to talk to me.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege. And hello, everybody listening, to the millions and millions of people listening and watching to this.
Emma, tell my listeners, tell our listeners, what is it that you do? And, a little bit about how did you get here? Your
So what
story
do
is
I do?
incredible. Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you. What I do is I serve from the heart. That's what I do. I serve from the heart, and I help people live out their dream of wanting to serve from their heart and help others, and not just build a beautiful life, but financially as well and sovereignly. So I believe everybody has the right to choose how they want to think, feel, act, and be. And that is my ultimate goal, for everyone to get to choose. How did I get here? It's a really interesting story. So I'll give it to you in about 5 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
That's okay. So currently, I'm nearly 53, and I have this incredible, beautiful life. I have a really gorgeous husband, two amazing boys who are now 21 and 22, so they're not boys, they're young men. We just got back from a trip to Egypt and Jordan. We travel a lot. We work together. We have this incredible, opulent, beautiful, fun, loving life. It wasn't always like this. In 2014 is when it really started to all happen for me. 2014, I was not doing anything like I do right now. I was working in admin. And I freaking hate admin. I'm not even good at it. But I worked in it. I was working in a chiropractic clinic as a receptionist. I had been a tennis coach. I had been a tennis coach for 31 years. I loved it. I was cleaning houses, and I was working in pubs, in bars, pouring drinks for people. So I had all these part-time jobs, and I was extremely busy. Busy, 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 busy. And I thrived on being busy, and I was proud of being busy. But, it was, can I swear on this one? Can I swear?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay. But it was bullshit. I wasn't, the only reason I was busy is because I was terrified to stop, because I thought if I stopped, I thought, and if I was to think, I was to feel. And if I was to feel, well, that would be death. So not only was I busy, 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 I was, the treasurer of the softball team, and, very involved in the primary school, and very involved. I was always on. I was always on. And people looking on the outside in saw this perfect family, the perfect facade. I didn't know who I was. I was driven highly by ego, like a lot. Like, look at me, I've got all my shit together, and I just did it at all. So 2014, I had missed all these signs to start self-healing. And 2014, on the 10th of April, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And within a month, I had been diagnosed with a lot of things: optic neuritis, multiple sclerosis, chronic fatigue, and celiac disease. 4 really crappy things. And it was so bad that I couldn't walk, I couldn't work anymore, I couldn't drive. So literally, I was on the couch and only had time to think and feel. Couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I went down really, really fast. I was very numb in my body, was heavily medicated, and I went down the medication road. I didn't know anything about the body actually being indicators to us that something emotionally is going on in the body and the mind and in the nervous system and in the unconscious mind and the soul. I didn't know anything about that. I just thought if you take a pill, it numbs it out. That's great, right? There was also a lot of wine was involved. I was drinking very heavily. Binge smoking. So a binge smoker is someone who doesn't smoke every day, but they will smoke a pack of cigarettes in one night. Like once a week or twice a week. They would sit down and they'll just chain smoke. That was me. So 2014, all of a sudden, after 3 months of feeling very sad and sorry for myself, I decided that enough was enough. So I went to the neurologist and they said within 6 months I'd be in a wheelchair. I was 44 years of age. And within 6 months, I'd be in a wheelchair. And within 2 years, so at the age of 46, I would be in a nursing home. And I went, oh my God, there's no way. So I decided in that moment that 2 things. One, I was either going to heal myself and I was going to give myself a year. And if nothing happened in that year, I was going to kill myself. And to be honest, I was too chicken shit to kill myself. It was never going to happen.
Thank God.
So thank God, right? Exactly. So I just made this decision that I was going to heal myself. And it was all in a decision. And it's funny, when I look back, I really gave all my decisions over to other people in every part of my life. Like I gave all the judgments over. I'm going to let you judge me, and then that will decipher how happy I am with my life. That's how I lived. I even did it with the doctors. Like I'm not well, but I'm going to hand over my health to you. If you tell me to have a pill, I'm going to have it, whether it works or not. Doesn't matter. Even if there's no evidence, there's nothing's ever helped, I'm still going to take the pills. And they didn't work for me. Some people, maybe they work. I don't know. I haven't met one person yet, but it didn't work for me. And so I decided to take life in my own hands. And I knew there was something going on. I knew the body heals. And I knew that. I knew the body innately heals. It can't not. And I learned that when I was working in chiropractic clinic. I kind of drummed it into us. The body heals. We just simply taking away this subluxation. We're taking away the issue that's stopping the flow in the body. So I knew this was drummed into me. I worked in chiropractic care for 6 years. I loved it. So I was like, okay, so what's my subluxation? What is my block? And then I knew very quickly it was anger and shame. And there were all these other things in between. Now, within 3 weeks of just cleaning up my diet, focusing in on myself, I started to feel my body again. Now, 3 weeks prior, I couldn't walk without a limp. I couldn't feel the bottoms of my feet. I couldn't feel my whole right leg. I couldn't feel my hands, and I couldn't feel the inside of my arms, and my face and my chest was completely numb. Now, within and all the feeling in my body except for my right foot within 3 weeks. And I'm like, hang on a minute, this is incredible. Very shortly after that, I got all my body back, my whole body. The only thing that took a while, took about 2 years to heal, was the optic neuritis in my left eye. And thank God, Isn't that funny that I say thank God? Because I feel if that had gone as quickly as the numbing and healed as quickly as the numbing, I probably would have stopped my journey.
Sure.
It's kind of like having a sore tooth. You go to the dentist, he numbs it out. You go, good, I'm okay now. But
Yeah.
you have to either extract the tooth, clean the stuff out, and then pack it with some other stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I was onto a winner, and I'm like, I found the cure. I found the cure of these autoimmune diseases because also I had healed my celiacs
Mm-hmm.
and the chronic fatigue. Like I healed all of it. So I started seeing clients. I started learning and studying. I started learning like a type of kinesiology, for the better word of it, energy to healing. And then I went from energy healing into hypnotherapy, NLP, like psychology, counseling. I wanted to really learn. It was funny. I love energy work and it was great. And I was having a lot of clients, but I would get these clients back, we'd clear something, and then they'd come back a month later with the same problem. And I'd be like, God, what am I missing here? I said, you've got to send me to what I'm missing here. And all of a sudden, he sent me to hypnotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it's the mindset work, it's a construct. Everything that we do, we construct it. And I said, you can heal it energetically, and that's great. But if you're constantly thinking about your problem, you're going to construct it again. You're going to create it again. So that's when I started working with holistically, as in with the entire body form. It wasn't just one way, it was many ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I was using Reiki, energy work, kinesiology, hypnotherapy, really woo-woo stuff, like really crazy woo-woo cool stuff, psychology, behavioral psychology. I was learning about trauma. And I was just seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, became 1,000 clients. And when you just open your channels, you start creating brand new processes, up to date, cutting edge processes, because I just worked so freaking closely with God. I created that process called timeline reset.
Yeah.
And that was through working with a client that had this massive adverse reaction that I was not trained for, by the way. And I just said to God, oh, mate, you better start talking. I don't know what to do here. Like, mate, get on with it. And then all of a sudden, I just started channeling this incredible process, which has now gone globally. Big corporations, big people, it's a huge process. And that's how it happened, through my own adversity and my own illness and just wanting to be better. And the thing is this, I didn't want to be better for me. I wanted to be better for my children and my husband. Because I didn't want them to have this vibrant mother. I was very depressed. Because when you spend your life avoiding pain, and then you're made to sit and lie in it, you become very anxious and very depressed.
Yes.
Because it's something that, I was taught from a very early age not to feel. Very early age not to feel. So if there was any tears, oh, don't be silly, you got nothing to cry about. Oh, don't be silly, you're only 5. You don't have problems, darling. So I was told from a very early age that my problems aren't valid. My feelings aren't valid. So I had to be happy-go-lucky Emma.
Mm-hmm.
Happy-go-lucky Emma, and that's exhausting. It's exhausting. So that's how I got to be where I am today.
So something occurred to me when you were talking earlier. You said that you missed the signs to healing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
What does that look like?
oh my gosh. So they've been going for quite some years, the signs. But the year before, so you know how I said to you on the 10th of April, I was diagnosed with MS?
Yep.
2014. On the 10th of April, 2013, I tore every ligament in my neck and I nearly became a paraplegic from a very serious accident I had.
Wow.
Same date.
Wow.
Right? And I ignored it. And then there were the little subtle things and little accidents or little things that would happen in the body, just, those things. And then God just went, okay, we're just going to have to get a sledgehammer and hit her across the head with this one then. She's just not listening.
We have to make it big for this one.
She's just not going to get it. So from now on, I'm like, I get it. Anything, just give me give me a 5 cent coin on the floor. I'll get it. Don't hit me with anything. When you're so busy running away from your own feelings, you're also really busy running away from everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you can't feel anything that's going on, you really can't feel joy either.
Mm-hmm.
You're in pretend land. So you're in this fake sense of reality. And it's great for everyone because they just think you don't have any problems and you're easy to be around. And inside you're freaking dying.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep that facade up.
Yeah.
It's really tiring. It's really taxing. But when you're so used to it, when you've been doing it since the age of 3, because I had to do it from the age of 3 just to survive my environment,
Mm-hmm.
it's just your way of life. But it's funny because women, it's great. So women often, it hits them in their 40s, around 40, 44, I find.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting younger now. So I'm finding younger women coming to me going, oh my God, I've had enough. I'm like, I'm so glad you're in your 20s.
I know. Isn't that the best?
Isn't it great? Isn't it great? They're like, no, I wish I'd done this earlier. I'm like, oh, babe, I've got 20 years on you.
Yeah, exactly. I often say to
yeah.
clients, I wish I had a me when I was, 25,
Oh,
30, 35.
do you imagine? It'd be so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier. Yeah. But with the signs, there were so many signs, so many signs every day.
Mm.
Good, bad, and indifferent. The minute you want to hide or want to go into oblivion, there's a sign that there's something that you need to look at. So there was a sign every day because I wouldn't drink during the day, but 5 p.m., get me that bottle of wine.
Mm.
Because 5 p.m., my day would start to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be probably the best part of my day because that's the part that I would connect with my children and my husband, and I didn't feel worthy of it. So when you don't feel worthy of your own bliss, you want to go into oblivion, which the oblivion is drugs, alcohol, distraction, disownment. I was going to disownment of my own bliss.
Mm.
Something you strive for all day is those moments of an evening with your family. I had them, a beautiful life. And I felt I didn't deserve it. Unconsciously, of course. I didn't know this was going on consciously.
Mm-hmm.
So I was self-sabotaging my own bliss. Amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing.
It's crazy what we do. And now what I love is that I just get to help so many people. And I love that I get to the pivotal point for me, I think, in my career was when I decided to start teaching what I do. Because
That was pivotal for me too.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. That was the massive point. That was a turning point for me in my career and my service to God, to this universe. Because I can only see so many people. And I'm like, how do I reach more people? I teach people what I do. That's how I'm going to do it. Because if I teach 100 people and they see 100 people, that's better. If I teach 500 people and they see 100 people, they see 1,000 people each, that's better. That's reaching more. And it's also sharing the opulence. It's also sharing the abundance. It's sharing the wealth. It's sharing the experiences. It's all about collaboration. So everyone that I teach, like Susan, I've taught you family freedom protocol. You know all of it. Delete, reset, masters.
Yeah.
All of it. We collaborate all the time.
Right.
We become collaborator. We're not teacher student. We're
100%.
that there's none of that. I don't believe in any of that. I don't believe in any of that at all. I believe in we become colleagues. The minute you sign up, we're colleagues and we're collaborators. And I love that. I love that we get to do it together.
I'll tell you from my perspective, that is empowerment at its best. Because when you teach, when you work with people, you are empowering us to be the best of who we are.
Yes.
And I will tell just for the people who are listening, one of the things that, oh my gosh, I think I said this to you early on, that what really struck me about working with you, learning with you, and all of it is that you literally gave me permission to be myself.
Yes.
And that is rare. I haven't had that experience with, I don't know, any other teachers or mentors that I've worked with. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being who you are and showing up in the world the way that you do.
Thank you. It's, when you're so used to being a people pleaser and wanting to please everybody else, my biggest learning out of everything, people say it must have been really hard to heal from MS. It was actually really easy. The hardest thing for me was to find out who's Emma Romano. Who's Emma? That was like, the weirdest thing was I didn't even know what colors I liked. I didn't even know what foods I liked. Because if someone said to me, hey, Emma, we're going out for dinner tonight, what's your favorite meal? And I'd be like, oh, Susan, what's yours? You might go Italian. I go, oh my God, me too. You could even say, oh, Emma, what kind of music do you like? Oh, what music do you like? You might say, oh, country western. Oh my God, that's incredible. Yeah, me too. Because I just wanted to blend. I just wanted to be accepted. Didn't matter if it was for me or not, because I didn't know who I was. So I would just blend into whoever I was with. I would morph into whoever they were. And the hardest thing is to go, okay, I've got to be brave enough to figure out who I am. And that is a work in progress, because we are never the one way. We're so many different ways.
Yeah.
And isn't that beautiful?
Well, and also we're always reinventing because we're evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I think I encourage. The reason there's one very big underlying reason why I encourage any of my people that step into this beautiful life that we have, and why I encourage them to be themselves, is because to collaborate, why would a client need two Emmas? The client needs an Emma, a Susan Marco, a Bob, a Jane. The client doesn't need two Emmas. The clients need a collaboration of all different. It's like a melting pot.
Yeah.
And to be ourselves is so authentic, and that success thrives on authenticity.
Well, he was a boss actually, but he was a friend and an amazing healer. Like, this guy could see things beyond this existence, he was amazing. And one day he turned around. Well, actually, it was funny because he gave me some house plants from his house and they were all dying. And I said to him, what kind of healer are you? All your plants are dying. And he said, can't be good at everything.
That's right. You don't need to be.
Yeah, that really struck me in that moment, that we don't need to be, because there are as many of us as there are problems and issues.
Yes.
right? So,
Yeah.
and it's the beauty of healing to me is exploring all of the different opportunities and possibilities and learning and growing and healing out of the experiences of that.
Mm.
Yeah, so I love that you share your story so vulnerably and so real, because I feel and I see it in a lot of my clients. It's not an isolated story.
No. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a pretty common story
It's
for.
a really common one.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a common one. And every single person has a story.
Mhm.
And for those listening, never compare your story to somebody else's.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Never compare your story to somebody else. Never sit there and go, oh, well, I haven't had a disease where I've nearly died, or it doesn't matter. Your story is your story and it's valid.
Mhm.
It is so valid. And, there's one thing I can say, it is this: everybody can heal.
Mm.
And if you focus on the space in the body that's doing well rather than the parts that are doing badly, you'll heal faster.
Oh, yes.
You will heal faster. And just by resolving and dissolving negative energy, take away the limits of, the belief limits, the limiting beliefs. Just by removing and dissolving them, it just your whole life just exponentially just goes. Do you like that sound effect?
Achoo. Well, I want to attest to that, because I I truly would not be where I am right now. I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I wouldn't be seeing clients the level that I am if not for that one big belief that I was able to throw out the door, like just throw it out the window. And it was that unworthy of being heard was
Big
so big
one.
for me. And,
Yeah.
through when I was learning how to do timeline reset, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember I reached out to you because I wanted
Mm-hmm.
you to certify me. And because,
Yeah.
it's a whole long story about that. But you said to me, well, let me see you in action. So I jumped on Zoom with another colleague who had also studied with you. And we brought each other through. And I thought, well, this is kind of a good one. I'll just, I'll get rid of this one. When you're learning
Mm,
something, you don't always think about it like, oh, I'm going to really take advantage or, use it in the best way.
yeah.
So I thought, well, let's see what happens with this one. Honest to goodness, I blew that off, and that has not been a thing since. And in such a pure, simple way,
Yes.
you know?
Because simple is best.
Yeah.
Therapy is not complicated.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Not at all.
Yeah.
In
What would you
fact,
say? What would you
it
say? I mean,
needs to be simple.
I have my own answer to this, but what would you say is the key to success for a client actually getting their desired outcome?
Be who you want to be. Simple as that. You can get as much therapy as you want. You can read as many books, listen to podcasts. You can do whatever you want. You got to do the things you want to do. You got to be the person you want to be. You got to action. It's just action. Yeah, it's it. Just action. That's it. It's so
Yeah.
it's like I love this analogy. I do a lot of mentoring with people around wealth as well. And I had this woman, she goes, you know, I know I'm going to be successful when I can buy myself a $4,000 Louis Vuitton handbag. I went, right, go to Kmart, buy yourself a $5 handbag and pretend it's $4,000. Be in the frequency of it. Do
Yeah.
the thing. She goes, really? I went, yep. I said, because if you got a $5 handbag compared to a $4,000 handbag, that $5 handbag, you throw it around, you don't care, you put pens in it with no lids, your lipsticks in, you don't give a shit, it's just all in there. You got a $4,000. You go to a coffee shop or restaurant, that $4,000 handbag has its own chair. Right? It has its own space at the table. It never goes on the floor. You don't put a mark on it. You sit there and you look at it. I said, I want you to practice that. I want you to practice that for 1 week. Within 1 week, she earned $7,000 because she
Unbelievable.
actioned. It was
Yeah.
all action. She pretended that. And she said to me, she goes, it was so hard to do. She really had to be conscious. I went, yep.
Yeah.
I said, you're practicing being wealthy.
Yeah.
I said, if you don't know how to be wealthy with a $5 handbag, you will never get the $4,000 one.
Yeah.
It's just action. And it's true. It is. I think people ask me all the time, Emma, why are you so successful? Why are you so different to these other people? Because I just do shit. I work. I action. I make a decision and I go, all right, I'm going to do it. No matter how awkward it is, how many times I fail it, you can only fail forwards. So every failure is a positive because you just learn how to do it better next time. So that's you just action, and don't be scared to mess it up because you're going to if you don't mess it up, you're not actioning it enough and you're not actioning it properly. It's kind of like going roller skating for the first time and not expecting to fall.
Right.
Whereas when you go roller skating the first time, just stand there and just keep falling. Learn how to fall. So then it's not as hard on the 20th time, but you're going to fall. Of course, you're going to fall. That's how you learn. That would be the only thing, my love.
So many golden nuggets every time I listen to you, like failing forwards.
Yeah.
That's just listeners, just think about that for a second. When you fail, it's forward movement. You're still learning and
Yeah.
growing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emma, tell me something. How would people reach out to you? Like how are the ways that you work with people? Anything you want to say about that?
I make things really, really easy for people. So my name is Emma Romano. My website is emmaromano.com.au. My email is emma@emmaromano.com.au, right? On Facebook, I'm Emma Romano. Instagram, I'm Heal with Emma Romano. You just put Emma Romano in there and you'll see this redhead chick coming up with this big smile on her face. That's me. Contact me, private message me on Facebook, email me, whatever. Just in the subject, just put Susan Marco's friend or Susan Marco podcast, or go on my website and there's a contact list there. My website's really cool. It's really juicy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got videos on there introducing things, and I've got my story on there. You can have a good cry with me. I'm crying on it. It's really good, but there's lots of things on offer, and I've got some free things on there too for people who go, who is this chick? So you can figure out who I am and see if you like my vibe or not.
Awesome. There's one more thing that I want to say. You may not want to work with Emma or learn from Emma if you don't have a sense of humor, because she is freaking funny.
I am. I'm really funny.
We
I
laugh a
am.
lot,
I do. I do. I am. I always feel that learning should be fun,
yeah.
and it should be. I mean, we can be so serious. Of course, we've got to get serious, but
Yeah.
it's got to be fun. It's got to be lighthearted as well. It's
Yeah.
good. And before we go as well, I just want to say, I feel like I'm gonna cry. Oh, I am. Susan, I'm celebrating you. Like, this is your first podcast. This is such an honor because I think you feel how much I love you and how much I really trust you and honor you. And I love working side by side with you. I really do. And it's not just the work. I really love who you are as a person and as my friend. And I'm really celebrating that you're doing this podcast. I'm getting so emotional. I'm so proud. Thank you for being brave enough to do this life with me as well. Thank you so much.
And I'm speechless now. You know that I'm not crying, you're crying thing?
Yeah. It can't be speeches, your podcast.
Yeah, it's ditto, all of it. It's an honor and a privilege to have you here and to share you with the world. And there's
Thank
more to
you.
come. And we can never really cover it, it seems, in 20 minutes or half an hour. So I'm sure we'll do it again. And thanks for everything. And I love you very much.
I love you so much. All you listeners and watchers out there, keep watching Susan. She's amazing. Your life will change for the better very quickly. Very, very. And if you haven't worked with Susan, get on to it, people. Get on to it.
Thanks,
I
love.
love you all.
Love you too.